Hello everyone, my name is David and this is the Oz at Infosec stream, and as you can see I'm all alone today because Ava is working. So today's stream is going to be a blue team stream. Do I have the, I have the LED set correctly. Sometimes I forget to switch colors. And I have a ton of things today before we can even get started. First of all, for those who signed up thanks to Sergey's mention of our channel yesterday, and shout out to their channel, All Loves Live. If you're not following them, you really should. They do some really neat malware analysis there. So let me welcome, just try to find the set of followers that we got. So Null Pointer, then Userin, I think, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Zimu, Hibu underscore. I think some of you are actually in the chat today, so hello. Then Escaping Mediocrity, really awesome nickname. And then GoPro Slow Yo, thank you for the follow. I think at this stage we're only 5 followers shy to play Stream Raiders. That's really the whole reason why we have a follower goal. Otherwise, I don't think it really changes anything. But I really would like to play Stream Raiders every now and then because I think it's a ton of fun. And I only got chance, I think last week with a streamer to play it. So I'm a total noob. I have no idea what I'm doing in Stream Raiders, but I really would like to explore the game. Hello Mishimokush, hello. I also see Onion returning. So how is everyone's day? We started another week. Mondays are usually not the best day of the week, but I'm hoping that everyone is having a blast. And this week we have so many things prepared for you. We're going to continue today with the DFIR Madness Stolen Szechuan Case, and last week I was, just as usual, very ambitious and wanted to do the memory forensics part as well, and we ended up just looking at the PCAP files, but we had James jumping into the stream. I'm not sure if he's going to join us today. He's the creator of these of this challenge and the data set. I invited him to get on a short call, but it was a Twitch whisper, and I'm not sure if he's reading it, so I will try to message him over, for example, Twitter this week, and maybe he can join us when we dive into the EO1 evidence files. So today my plan is to go through the Autoruns files. That should be fairly quick, and then spend some time with the memory analysis. Maybe we'll have time to look at the Pagefile as well, but not sure. And then tomorrow we're not gonna have a stream because there's a Hack Actually meetup. If you do speak Hungarian, then it's a Hungarian stream that you can follow. They also have an on-site, I forgot the place and I don't have Facebook open. Anyways, on the Hack Actually meetup Facebook page, you can check out the details, but it's going to be streamed on Twitch. So Hack Actually _ meetup, I think is the name. Make sure you follow them, and you will be able to follow the stream. It's some iOS application hacking and in-app payments, so I'm definitely going to watch that, and I suggest you do the same. So that's why tomorrow we have no stream, but Wednesday we will have the usual red team. We're going to continue the Try Hack Me Throwback Lab that we started. My access is about to expire, so this week we are going to attempt to finish it, and we'll see if it will be something that we can do. If not, then we might do a bonus stream before my access expires. Then on Thursday, I plan 2 streams, but one of them is not going to be here on Twitch. I'm going to join. I'm going to be joining Phil Hagen in a Sans stream, which is going to be on YouTube. So it's organized by Sans. I'm just joining to talk about network forensics and and tools related to network forensics. I'm just trying to find the link that I prepared. If you're interested, here's the YouTube link for the live stream. You can I think you need to subscribe or get the notification bell. I'm not really sure how YouTube Live works. It's usually that either you get the link or you will never be able to find anything on YouTube Live. But Sense is using that as their platform for streaming, so I'm going to be co-hosting that stream. And after that, or somewhere around 8 Central European time, so make the necessary adjustments to your time zone, we're going to fire up that Prusa Mini printer that we finally managed to assemble on Friday. That was yet another pretty long stream, almost 5 hours, but we even have the spool dispenser assembled. So all we need to do is do the calibration, do the setup, install all the software, choose a model, and then try to print something. So that's our idea for that bonus stream. Friday is normally the hardware lab session, but and we could have done the Prusa Mini there, but I would like to progress with our preparation for our upcoming assessment. So I'm going to fire up here a couple of pineapples that I have, configure them, test them out. So we're going to run some attacks against my devices and target networks. And we're also going to attempt to see what we can detect with those intrusion detection systems that we built in past streams. So we're going to fire up Enzyme and Kismet and see how they react when we have a rogue access point with a pineapple. And we'll see what alerts are there. Maybe we can reconfigure the pineapple to avoid some of the detection, although I don't really expect my client to be prepared for this, but we don't know what they installed. And Sunday is going to be the usual Hungarian beginner-friendly stream. We're going to continue with Try Hack Me. Yesterday we made great progress there. It was a bit longer stream. I believe the next rooms in the path are going to be related to Burp and using Burp Suite. So if you're not that familiar with that tool, it's a great opportunity to get started. I do remember in the Hackers Meetup group, someone mentioned that they need to learn a bit more about Burp Suite. So great opportunity to do just that. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to switch over to my screen. There it is. And before going through some of the news that I gathered here, I would like to emphasize again that if you want to follow along today's stream, you will need the files, the case files from the DFIR Madness website. If you followed the stream last week, you probably downloaded these or started the download. Maybe you just have the PCAP files. So if you scroll all the way down, and this is in the, if you do ! WhatsApp, then you should have the links included, I believe. But anyways, I'm dropping it in the chat. And we've done the PCAP analysis. I made a snapshot of the VM. It's kind of weird that I'm not able to highlight a single line here. There it is. And we have all the results. I just dropped them into a separate folder, and we're going to somewhat leverage our knowledge and pivot from those artifacts that we found and some of the findings that we had from last week's stream. And we're also going to take an approach that kind of ignores the initial findings that we had with the PCAP analysis, just to see what we can find from these various data types like Autoruns and memory dumps, just to see how you would get started if you don't have a PCAP file, which is very often the case. I'm also hoping to be able to extract some packets from memory dumps. If you never saw how that's done, it's actually fairly easy to do. And then I'm hoping that we will be able to get maybe a couple packets out of that memory dump. So we're going to need the memory. I'm not sure if we're gonna have time for the Pagefile, so I'm going to leave that one for last. and then Autoruns. I already have these ones downloaded, and you have here the MD5 hashes for the files. Make sure that you check them. Just watch out, because this is the hash for the zip files, not the files, not the evidence included in the zip files. Let me just close up here a couple of things in the meantime to save some bandwidth. And if the stream ever gets choppy or anything, please let me know, because we're consuming all our bandwidth here. So I have another system here as a backup if something goes wrong with my my main laptop. And Ava is also following a stream, so everything on the upload and download directions is consuming our bandwidth. So whenever it gets flaky or choppy, just let me know. So download the evidence files, and I'm also going to use the SIFT workstation. Now there are multiple options to get this one up and running, and you don't have to run these if you or use this VM if you would like to use your, for example, your own Ubuntu system. You can also do so. But you have a ton of tools installed on the SIFT VM. So you either download the VM here, or if you have, for example, an Ubuntu, then you can just follow the install instructions, and then with the simple SIFT install, you have to have elevated privileges to install all the tools. You can have the tools installed on your Ubuntu system. And apparently SIFT also works with the Windows subsystem for Linux, which is a very misleading name, in my opinion, because it's more like it's a Linux subsystem for Windows, isn't it? Like, doesn't that make more sense? Anyways, I'm not a native speaker in English, so what do I know? But these are the tools that I'm going to be working with throughout the stream, and I might install a few additional ones. I think SIFT has still volatility 2, so we can check out what volatility 3 has, and a couple other tools. I also have Redline here, but my experience with Redline in the past couple of years was subpar, to say it nicely. I don't think that's a tool that is frequently updated now, and well, we'll see. If you have time, then I might just drop the memory dump there and see what it does. But these are the most important steps to get started. I would say start with Autoruns, and once you have it, start downloading the memory images. And keep in mind that for Autoruns and memory, you're going to have to download the files both for the desktop and also for the DC. So make sure that you have both of them. I have everything downloaded already in a separate directory, so I should be good to go. Let's see some news. It's the beginning of the year, which is usually tax season everywhere, and in the United States, it's also fishing season. One site that was mentioned, and you can check out these, some of them, because I also found a few interesting bits in Daniel Meiser's newsletter, weekly newsletter. But if you just sign up for the free newsletter, I think you get it bi-weekly or monthly, I'm not sure. But there was mention about what IRS is trying to do to prevent the tax frauds that were happening in the past couple of years. Intuit also has here a list under security notices for various phishing emails. And the cool thing with these notifications is that they not only have the emails, the details about the emails, but the emails itself is also included as a screenshot. Probably would have been nicer to have the email source as well, like an email file, but hey, we can have it all. And this is already better than what most organizations are doing, so awesome. Yeah, if you're in the United States, then tax season also means phishing season, so just be aware of these. Now, IRS is trying something interesting. They're going to, or they plan to work together with a company. I forgot the name. It's something like, ID Me. And it's, wow. Okay, not now, just, oh, wow. CBS is very aggressive. Looks like you're using ad blocker. Yes, I am, but well, just for you, CBS, I'm going to what is this? Once, so that means it's allowed. Now we're going to see all the advertisement as well. So there are some, wow, this is horrible. Okay, CBS got a strike from me. Let's just leave it there. Anyways, there are some voices from people saying that they do not want to use ID.me because it includes also taking a picture of their IDs. I'm not really sure what's better, having the proper identification for your tax returns or having your tax returns stolen by someone. You decide, but if you're not from the US, you probably don't care much. Anyways, this is something that the news were about. Then Argo, a continuous delivery or continuous development, I'm not sure, yeah, continuous delivery is an open source tool for DevOps and to build a CD or apparently CD pipeline. I'm pretty sure CI can be also implemented with it. And cookie notice, fascinating. And they have a serious vulnerability that is a path traversal. And if you are running this, I don't know any of my clients running this specific solution. I think most of my clients are either using the Azure DevOps solution or GitHub, or yeah, I also know one who is using Jenkins still, old school. But yeah, if you're using the Argo CD solution, then just be aware that there is a path traversal vulnerability out there. Now, one important thing that someone drew my attention to is this site here, and I do see GoPro low slow yo. So thank you very much for drawing my attention to this, and you will not believe it. After that person added me to this list, or our stream rather, I checked it on GitHub, and I already had it starred. I just completely forgot about it. So in the past, I did find this, and then I forgot about it completely. But you can find here Infosec streamers, and it's a sorted list. So if someone goes live and based on their activity, they're going to be higher on top, and it makes it easier to find active Infosec streamers. I was very, very happy about this, and I'm not sure how the algorithm picks up the stream because we're live and there's no marking there next to our stream. I wonder if Hacker1 TV is really Hacker1's Twitch. I'm totally going to add them one later, but this will make my life easier if we ever have to raid, for example, another channel. So super happy about it. And I also made a pull request because I forgot to mention that we have a YouTube channel, but the pull request is right over here. So if GoPro is listening, then please, the pull request there. And also let me know how this thing works, because we've been live for almost half an hour and it still doesn't say that we're live. But hey, I think eventually it will pick it up, hopefully. Now, two last things. One is something from Sodan or Shodan, I'm not sure how you pronounce it properly. I pronounce it both ways, but Shodan has the favicon map here that is very, very similar to another project from Mmap. It's an older project. I think it's called Icons of the Web or something. Yeah, this one here. But they're accomplishing something that looks similar, but they have a different approach. So the Icons of the Web is based on the Mmap project's view on how frequently someone goes to a specific site. And it's an older project, so you see here sites like yahoo.com that is probably not this popular anymore. Oops. And yeah, it's interactive, so you can zoom in and click around. So this is from 2013, but this favicon map from Shodan resembles a lot to me. However, this is based on what they see most commonly as a favicon in Shodan. And the top one here, I think it's some webcam favicon, because Shodan is about peeping at other people and looking at their webcams. You shouldn't do that, by the way. It's illegal, but through Shodan you can look at the snapshots that the search engine is doing. And yeah, there's a ton of webcams out there. It's also a bit worrisome that Tomcat default favicon is here. Usually this gets replaced by the application, but yeah, apparently not. And you can browse this one. I think it's more like an art project than actually something useful, but it's pretty interesting. It seems also a lot of PFSense here. I think this is a PFSense logo, GitLab. So interesting stuff here, but it's more just for fun. And one last thing that I read from Daniel Meiser's newsletter is this OWASP project on it's an application or a series of challenges for incorrectly stored credentials and incorrectly stored secrets. So it's an application that you can fire up. Apparently you can deploy it on your Heroku app or as Docker, and maybe later we are going to check this one out. So I think it's pretty interesting. All right, let me see if we have anything else. Yeah, just really quickly, I want to mention this. Finally, the Hungarian post office decided to deliver my package, and we have, after 3 weeks-ish, I wouldn't call it delay, but basically the package was in the country already, and I was really hoping that we could build the Pi Sniffer and the Ponagochi with these devices, but apparently not. But now I have a bunch of these, and I'm talking about the UPS Lite. So I have my order of UPS Lite coming in from AliExpress. Haven't opened any of them, so we're going to take a quick look and see what's inside. So originally my plan was to use these to build those two little devices, because they have, at least the Ponagochi definitely has a plugin for it, and it should work well with any project. It doesn't have to be necessarily a Wi-Fi sniffer, but Ponagochi is recommending this one. This is tested by a lot of folks, and it's really just a power source for a Raspberry Pi 0 or 02, and it's widely supported, widely adapted. I tried to order these originally from Kindy, but I had some shipping issues, and this one also took quite some time. The idea is pretty much the same as the Pi Sugar. It's just a little bit smaller, so more compact, but you would attach the Raspberry Pi on top of this like so, and then you have the same kind of pogo pins. I'm not sure if you can see it, but let me zoom in. So same kind of pogo pins to make the connection with the i0. I'm going to use it for other projects, and obviously because of the more compact size, this one has a smaller battery in it, but it should support a small little Raspberry Pi 0 for sufficient amount of time. So if you are building a Ponagochi project or something like this, then it should be fine. I think I do have some leftover or like spare e-ink screens, so I might try to build maybe a Ponagochi with one of these just to test it out and see how it performs versus the Pi Sugar, but it looks more pocket sized, as you can see. So anyways, this is what came with the post today, and I wanted to share. Maybe in later projects we will see it. All right, let me look at my stream notes here. So we talked about that. Okay, let's dive into the actual content then. We're going to start off with Autoruns. I'll just fire up my virtual machine here, put it in full screen. So we have real estate, and transferring the evidence into a virtual machine is really the challenging part usually. What I use as a solution is shared folders, which is a little bit flaky, but very convenient. The other solution would be to just SCP in the data to the VM. Probably that's also these days is quite convenient, given that you have native SSH support on every system. That includes Windows 10 as well, but I kind of like the shared folder option, because that way I can set up the shared folders, and let me show you how I have it configured while the VM is booting up. So this is the same method that we used last week. So if you followed along last week, this shouldn't be a surprise, and you can also configure it. So I have here my shared folders configured, and if I go under properties, you see that it is set to read only, and this is something that I really like. Just log in the VM. This is something I really like, because that way I'm kind of having this as a safety option, and it prevents me from overwriting accidentally the original evidence. So I have to make a copy of it, and that way I can work on that evidence. I'll try to do everything in the VM. I'm not sure if we have LibreOffice or something like that, but yeah, because I think for Autoruns, it's probably going to be the easiest by using the some sort of tool. But maybe we can also use Timeline Explorer. I will show you Timeline Explorer anyways. Have that one, I think, under tools. Let me just check. I recently updated the Aleximerman tools, so yeah, okay. So we can check Timeline Explorer as well. Actually, we can also check it with Excel. Doesn't really matter. And the shared folders should be under Mount HGFS, and this is empty. It's really annoying, but I have to do this every single time I boot this VM up again. And I think it's the same for just pausing the VM. It's I don't know when or if ever VMware considers to fix this one. I do know that we opened a couple of tickets for them, and they said, yep, you know about the bug. So maybe fix it, I don't know. Just spitballing here. So now, as you can see, we have the shared folder showing up under here. And like I said, the important thing here is that I'm not able to write here, so I won't be able to do anything, not even with sudo, because it's read only. And yeah, probably instead of decompressing it here, I'll just do the decompression real quick. Shared folders, DFIR Madness. So let me show you. I have here the folders. Let's try to resize it so we have all the details. And the Pagefile already decompressed. Let's decompress, or let's see what's in the Autoruns. So this is just the CSV file. And so that's for the DC. And this is for the desktop. I'm just dropping them here on my host, decompressing them, and that's it. And actually, I'm going to attempt again a poll. Usually this one goes sideways and I'm not getting any responses, but eventually you guys will realize that these polls are totally harmless and you might click on any of the answers provided. So let me click this one through, because I'm interested in knowing how many of you are using Autoruns regularly or every now and then, and it just takes a lot of copy pasting for me. But let's see. So my poll question is, are you using Autoruns in your environment? And I have yes. We even have Autoruns baselines. Yes, but only look at it during IR, for example. Okay, then this is It's not fitting. Yes, only for IR or something like that. Nope. And then a sad smiley. And then what's Autoruns? And I'm going to have this one up for 10 minutes. So the poll should be on the very top of the chat. Please let me know. And I have to, so here, fix it a little bit. So Autoruns, we are talking about, yeah, and the first one has missing S at the end. So yes, we even have Autorun. Yeah, and this would have been baseline. I'm not sure if I can fix it, but that's for the baseline. So yes, with baseline or something like this. I'm not sure if I can modify it. Those are becoming kind of short for the length of the answers. So I'll try to do it again. So Autoruns. Autoruns is really the... I'm going to delete the poll and let me try it again. So Autoruns is really the same as, or is the Autoruns from sysinternals. Let me try to bring it up. So Autoruns. We're actually talking about this Autoruns from sysinternals. So this is Autoruns from Mark Rusinovich. And you might have seen this program. Maybe used it during incident response. I'll try to just redo this poll again. Baselines or something like that. And the idea with this is it will check all the possible persistent methods or Autorun options that exist in a Windows environment. Now it's not an exhaustive list, but it covers the most important mechanisms. There it is. So I have the poll up and running again, and now I think it makes more sense. So I voted for yes only for IR because whenever we use it, it's usually at the client side and they don't have baseline. What you can do with this tool is you can run it, well, if you run it headless, then I don't think you can, I think it can do a CSV output format, but there's also a format that you can have with Autoruns, and you can create a diff. So doing a baseline is a really great way of quickly identifying the new Autoruns entries on your system. And if you have a baseline, and you have an incident with the system, you can create another Autoruns assessment and then diff the two together just to look at the changes, which makes it a really, really powerful IR tool. Unfortunately, not a lot of organizations are doing it. We usually just end up looking at the Autoruns output post-incident. I think a newer feature also allows you to do this on a dead box image, but I'm not 100% sure. And it can also do some virus tool lookup based on the hash. So really, really awesome tool. Highly recommended if you do incident response. This is a really quick way to find potential persistence on a compromised system. And you can run it in a headless mode, and it's going to be then where is the it's going to be then probably something like a CSV output that you can feed into tools like Excel or LibreOffice or what you have. So let's take these two CSV files, and first, I'm going to show you how I would approach this with something like Excel or similar tool. We can also take a look at Eric Zimmerman's Timeline Explorer, which is pretty much just a glorified Excel. But don't tell this to Eric. It can do a lot more than just displaying the data. There are some advanced search options. But now I should have here the CSV files, and I'm going to copy them to my home directory, for example. Right. I'm thinking about creating directories here. So let's do kdir Autoruns, just like we have it for network forensics. I'm going to move these to Autoruns. All right. And wonder if we can open this one up with something like LibreOffice. So what happens if I double click the CSV file? Okay, so Sift Workstation does have LibreOffice. If you want to use Excel, that's equally good. And it's a comma separated vector. I think it's using a semicolon, but this data export looks good. So let's say okay. And in the meantime, please answer the poll. If you do not know Autoruns, it's not a problem. You don't have to be ashamed. The poll is anonymous, but I really would like to see what is your experience with this tool, if you're using it or not. Okay, we're not going to need the release notes here or the tooltips. So first order of business is to set up some filtering capabilities, and I also like to have the top row frozen. So there it is. And this is what we have as the tool output. We have here entry location, the actual entry for that Autoruns category, and probably the most important column here is the category column itself. This lists out the main categories that Autoruns handles as the potential persistence source, and you can see here things like services, scheduled tasks, Vim logon, and so on. So usually what I do here is I just get started with some of the most common options, and I work my way down to the more exotic ones. And keep in mind that Autoruns is not perfect. There are a ton of other persistence mechanisms, but it's a really good starting point. And we have this as the data, the evidence for this case. So we're going to check out what we can find. Probably we can start off with something like scheduled tasks. And we're going to apply a divide and conquer approach, which is very, very common, especially if you're working with a lot of data. And in forensics, that's very often the case. And you somehow have to have manageable chunks, maybe something that you can distribute in your team, and apply some filtering on the data. Try to find something that is an outlier, not a normal entry in a healthy system. So looking at the scheduled tasks, some of the things that we can look at for further filtering is just look at enabled ones. Oops. So like this, this filters down the list a little bit. And then the signer column is something that I like to do some filtering on. So we can filter, for example, first disregard Microsoft signed ones and just look at the entries that are not signed by anyone. So gather network info and clean up perf logs. I think these are VB scripts. Yeah. So these are fully standard scripts. Just because they're not signed, they're not necessarily malicious, or there's no company information. That's because these are just VB scripts, and they are shipped with standard Windows systems. So nothing really special about them. And on the signed side, now just because you have like a company information included with an Autoruns entry, again, that doesn't mean that it's totally benign. So things that are worth checking are stuff like PowerShell or similar kind of entries that can be potentially misused by attackers. As you can see, it also calculates the imp hash, different type of hashes that you can use for lookup. And I also like to look at the lunch string, just browse through it. Yeah, I don't see anything that really sticks out here. so let's look at another category maybe. Where's my category column? And the disabled ones are not really interesting because, yeah, they're disabled. So let's look at services, for example. And we have enabled or empty. This first line is not sure why Autoruns is displaying it. It's probably just something that the tool accidentally displays. So usual stuff then. This is probably a VMware virtual machine based on what we can see here. So I'm going to just look for entries that do not have a company name there. And we have the first line that we saw earlier, and then one single line, core updater. And if you follow the last week's stream, we saw core updater a couple of times, and I think we established that it was Metasploit. So I could have even just searched for this one. Let's see, core updater is the launch string. Okay, this one totally stinks. We can, and we have the knowledge, so we can also use it as a pivot point. We can also do a hash lookup on this one, see what we can find. And normally with Autoruns, if you had the Autoruns specific format, save the Autoruns information in that format, you could do the VirusTotal or similar. I think it can only do VirusTotal lookup, but you could do it on the tool interface, and it would give you back the VirusTotal score. But yeah, so this one, I think we even visited the same thing. So yeah, Metasploit core updater. So this was already uploaded here. Not sure if it was James, the creator of this. So we found something already that looks interesting. And at this point, there are multiple ways how we can progress. So this is a really good find. I'm very happy with this one. And I'm also going to check if we have any other entries for core updater in Autoruns. We are looking at the Citadel Autoruns file. Yeah, oh wait, let me just go back here. I think we have a column here. Description is core updater column. Okay. So just core updater, one single line here. Okay, we don't have any other entries. Let me try to resize the columns. So I only seen core updater running here as a service. So this starts up as a service at start. Right. Other thing that we can also look for is certain registry entries, like the registry run keys are very, very commonly used. I think Metasploit does use the just a typical run key entry. You can also check logon. So let's look at another category. Again, we see here VMware on CD. This is just, so these files are actually not even there. Another current version run, we usually have additional run keys, registry run keys for automatically running applications. So let's check out that registry run key. It's not necessarily it's not something that you can filter on just a category, but in the entry location you can just do current version run and or just run. I don't know. Let's try just run. So, but I think we only have this entry here. Oh wait, I have a filter here. That's better. So I had the company filter still on. And I have 2 additional entries here. PowerShell as a registry run key from the entry core of the. I think that was the reason why. This is interesting. We couldn't find any other, so let me clear out here really quickly. So this is already something that is suspicious. Especially because of this PowerShell command here. Running a hidden middle. Yeah, this is this is very, very typical. So trying to hide the presence of it, and does an invoke execution from base64 string. Now we don't have the, we do have the registry, but I plan to look at the E01 files for the next stream. We can put this one aside and probably go back to the registry entry to see. I expect to see a base64 string at this registry entry here. So there's the key, and that's the key value there, and under that key value we should have some nice base64 blobs. At least that's my assumption. Let me try to clear, and I'm going to verify if I have cleaned out all the filters here, because I want to perform another search on for updater. Yeah, okay, now we find that other line as well. So core updater starts up as a service, and then there's a registry key that my assumption is that it contains the payload. We'll check that one later. Just need to remember this for next week. But these are pretty interesting finds. In the meantime, the poll is up, and again, I was the only one answering it, so I guess you guys are not really into polls, but that's okay. And I see we have a follow from Little Booty. Okay. Thank you for the follow, and we're getting close to that 100 follower. And then we can try out probably for the next stream the stream raiders, because we're progressing somewhat with the speed that I was expecting, but I would like to make sure that we finish on time, because the last couple of streams we did not really manage to do that, and want to make sure that we really keep the 3-hour time frame. I'm pretty sure you would like to spend some time with friends and family as well, not just look at the stream, or do you? So I would say this is all on the registry run keys. We can check the other categories as well. Why is this column gets resized all the time for the description? By the way, the description is just as good as the signer or company column. Yeah, these are just standard those processes. So boot we saw, well, codecs, and probably not a lot of interesting stuff here. I'm just browsing through real quick on this, but I think we already have the smoking gun from Autoruns. So what I would do for the desktop is just to see if you can find the same thing there. And this is just sysfile system32. Okay. Drivers. Again, we could filter, but I think most of these are enabled. Here again, I would just check if we have like empty signer and control set services. Oh, there's nothing here, so I think Autoruns was not able to parse this one properly. Looks good. Do a filter on the company as well, just to be sure. I think we're going to see the same entries. Okay. Let's go to the next category. I think we already did the upper three. Known DLLs, network providers, services we saw, tasks we saw, Vin logon. The Explorer can have, and that's not Internet Explorer, but I also have some auto start here. Then let's try to get rid of signed. entries, or the ones that have a company detail. Yeah, there's nothing here. I don't think there's much aside from those two entries, but let's see. Okay. This is false positive again. This is just Internet Explorer. This is really Internet Explorer. Yeah, search hook, that's also totally normal usually. But I don't see anything that really sticks out for these categories. Known DLLs. I'm also going to drop in logons maybe. Logons, we only have a few entries here. Okay, so this one was from a logon entry. Okay, that makes sense. But we already found it, so we could have found it this way as well. For the logon entries, it's always a good idea to check in the line string. Right, what else? So known DLLs, logon, say providers is the next one. Let's bundle them together with network providers so we can speed up a bit the process. Let's see entries that are signed. Oh, these are absolutely nothing here. Then we only have Microsoft and VMware. These look like system DLLs to me. So I don't think we have anything else. Print monitors, and then I think WinLogon we haven't checked. So let's check those two as well. Maybe for WinLogon. Not much. So I'm starting at the bottom with print logons. No, these are some DLLs. I mean, I might. This is also normal. I might miss a few things accidentally, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to miss the whole incident or the attacker itself. So at this point, I'm pretty happy with this. We have two entries that are related to our previous findings, so we can use this as a pivot point. And I'm going to save this one as Autoruns Citadel, but as an Excel sheet. Yeah, I want to use this format. So I have the filter enabled, and makes it easy, and the coloring, so it's not just a comma separated vector, but something that I can easily go back later and find. All right, so that was the Autoruns for Citadel DC01. Let's look at the desktop, and I think I'm just going to go after this core updater, or what was the name? So filter. Let's freeze the first column. I'm going to attempt to find core update or updater. And I do have an entry here. So I think, yeah, this is also services. Now to do proper timelining, I would have to pick out the entry here and merge it in a timeline. We're not trying to do a full proper investigation there. That's probably wouldn't be too interesting to see me how I reformat dates in an Excel sheet, but you definitely should do that because it's a very, very powerful method, and we're probably just going to leverage something like Blazo later to create a timeline. So we had that core updater. I wonder if we have, okay, again, do I have some filtering enabled here? I'm just going to search for PowerShell maybe. I'm pretty sure we have a similar PowerShell entry. Persistence. or at least I hope. Okay, let's look at the run keys. I think that's where we found it. Yeah. Because this is core update. The entry name is core update, not updater. So I should search for core update. Maybe that was the reason why I couldn't find it last time. And I was going to highlight this and then go back to the launch string here. Okay, very, very similar to the previous one, but I think the random parts of the key value is, or the entry and the key name is different because it's random. But that's pretty much it. I'm not going to go any deeper than that here with the desktop. I think we got what we came for, and have the same two entries, so same persistence for Metasploit that we identified with the domain controller. There's the service, and then later there is the run key entry for PowerShell. Right, I think it's good. I'm kind of happy with this one. So 2 findings. Let me just save this one as well as an Excel sheet. These 2 findings correlate with what we had in case of the PCAP analysis. So I am happy, and based on the domain controller analysis, I don't expect to find anything else. If you want to dig further for the desktop, then go ahead. I think this is sufficient for the Autoruns part. Let's move on to volatility and memory. So just adjust a little bit the music volume. All right. So what do we have here? We have memory dump for the domain controller and memory dump for the desktop. I think I can only do one at a time. We're going to wait for this one. And probably also going to do the Pagefile as well, because I want to use a tool that I know that kind of works well on page files and memory dumps as well. So it's a good opportunity to check them both. Let's get the desktop memory dump as well. And then I'm going to copy these 2 over on the VM. Let me just create something for the VM. Let's create a memory analysis, or memory, so that we copy the dumps over here from the share. So mount HDFS DFIR Madness, and we have 2 .mem files, I believe, if I remember correctly. Yeah, 2 mem files. Let me drop the Pagefile here as well for later use. Just parallelism. Copy these over. So these are fairly small for a memory image. Both of them are 2 gig ones. It's kind of uncommon. Unfortunately, these days you have to deal with 8, 16, or even more. 16, I think it's getting pretty common today, but 8 is definitely the bare minimum that you should expect. These were, as we saw from the Autoruns entries, these were virtual machines, and probably just to make it more manageable, the memory size was set to 2 gigs. We're still going to have to spend quite some time on these. And I have a way of speeding up, not necessarily the analysis part, but running volatility. Volatility has a set of plugins, and usually you're going to run a very similar command over and over again So I do have a script, and I promised later I am going to share the script. Probably going to drop it on GitHub. I might have to update it because it's still for Volatility 2, but in the past I used this one here, if I can find it now. Just one sec, I need to think where I put this one. No, not here, or maybe it's here. Yeah, it's here. So I'm going to copy this script over, and if you're interested in this one, I'll share it later. So my plan is that I'm going to run this script, show you the script, tell you how it works, run it, and then we're going to do the same actions with volatility free manually. And it will make sense what I have here and why I use a script instead of just running the commands. And if you really want to use the script now as we do the stream, let me know and I try to drop it in something like a peace bin or something like that, because it's really something that I would like to put out as a public resource, just polish it maybe a little bit before I drop it on GitHub. Wow, with Vim, that's hardcore. Let's use Mousepad or something like that, or this text editor. Yeah, so it's a very simple shell script, and basically what it does, it just iterates through a set of volatility commands and plugins that are pre-installed with Zip Workstation. So this should work out of the box, at least I hope, and produce the output. Because with volatility, first thing that we're going to run is actually going to be something that I need for the script. We need to identify the profile for the memory images. But once we have that one, we are going to be able to just try to do something here. We're going to be able to run the script because it requires the profile. I think with volatility 3 you don't have to do that anymore, but with volatility 2, first you would run an image info. So let me get here, and we should have the memory images. In the meantime, let me just check if my page files are decompressed. Wow, this one, so this is probably the desktop page file. I'm going to rename this one so we can distinguish it from the Citadel one. I still have the original evidence in the zip file. Okay, so let's get here. We have two memory images. We can run the script against both of them and then do the analysis part, and you will see that the structure of the, well, it depends. We probably have to run a couple of the plugins manually. So usually what I do is I just run the usual suspects like process list, net scan, and things like that, and output them into a separate file. Even if you do this manually, I highly recommend doing this redirection to a text file, because some of the plugins will take ages to run and some of the commands will take ages to run. Let me just check what is the version for volatility here. Okay, so we have 2.61. This is volatility 2. If you check, let's check it here. Volatility, memory, forensics, probably. Then under downloads, you can see that volatility 2 and 3 are kind of coexists, and the reason for that is that volatility 3, the first stable version, or a version that was claimed to be stable, was released in 2020 February, so around 2 years ago, and I think now the latest greatest version is, yeah, it's 2.0, 26 days ago. So I don't know why they have here version 1. They probably forgot to do the update. So well, either we go and install it like this, or I think we will just install it from the repo, the master branch, and then give it a try as well. But let's first look at volatility 2, and you still probably want to use volatility 2, maybe even recall, but recall is something that we're not going to use because recall got discontinued a long time ago. Some functionality still might work better. Some plugins might still work better with recall. I don't think we will have time for this, and quite frankly, if you look at the repository, last stable release was from 2017, archived now, and yeah, 2 years ago we had the last commit, I think, yeah, in October, so a bit less than 2 years ago. It's still a good tool. It's a memory forensics tool developed by Google. They kind of decided to create recall because they were not very satisfied with the development speed of volatility and volatility 2. So they created this project, but then with volatility 3, they sort of decided to discontinue it, and now their tools like GER is relying on volatility as well, as they stated here. So yeah, I don't think we will have time for this, and I think most professionals out there are not really using recall anymore. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe in another stream we can cycle back to this one. It's still something that should produce pretty good results, but I'm not that familiar with recall, and volatility is really the de facto tool to do memory forensics. So let's check it out. And I don't need the browser here. And what we need to do first is to run check the music here. Usually this is around the point where I will have the music stop. I think it's gonna be fine in this case. So we need to load in the image that we're interested in, and it's the image info that you want to run against the image first with volatility 2. I don't think it's necessary with volatility 3, but we'll see. And this will take quite some time. So I beefed up my VM so that I don't have to wait forever, and I have plenty of free cores. And I will do the same thing for the other image file that we have here for the desktop one. So all desktop image info. And image info will do a scan on the image and try to determine the profile, the best possible profiles for that image. Sometimes it's doing a really good job and able to determine very precisely the profile and the version for the system. Sometimes it might not be able to, with 100% certainty, point out the profile that you need to use. In that case, I usually just choose a generic one and not like a specific version of the OS. And this might take quite some time. So let's take a look at the script that I have here. So simple bash script does some checking on the argument. So requires you to point it to an image and a profile, and it just constructs the standard volatility command really, which is going to be volatility, then the image file, the profile. This is something that is required with volatility 2 for every single case, and then we pick one of the basic commands here, like plist or pscan or ps cross view netscan, and I will explain some of these and what they do in a second. Just looking at yeah, we're redirecting then the output. I'm also creating a log file so we can see which plugins are failing or which commands are failing. Yeah, that's pretty much what the script does. And then I broke it down into different plugins. For example, there's an Autoruns plugin which doesn't work well most of the time. but some of the common plugins I included here. Yeah, there's also something for PCAP files, scanning PCAPs, but this is probably something that I have to remove. Also try to grab some browser history. So and there's also a timeliner which does a decent job, but don't expect to have like Plazo timeline level of details. So it really just constructs, as you can see, these commands, mostly just iterating through the various options. And if I want to add something, like I have another plugin that I want to drop in, then I can drop that one in as well. So I was experimenting here, for example. So that's why I need to clean up these lines and make sure that I only have the interesting part in. And that's it. It's a very simple, like 100 lines of bash script, and yeah, pretty dumb, but this prevents me from issuing the same volatility commands over and over again. So the script will create a directory and drop everything there based on the image name. That's it. In the meantime, let's check on these commands. They're still running. I'm going to prepare the script in the meantime. I think that I need to modify it to be, executable. Do chmod +x under quick memory analysis. And I'm going to prepare two commands. Let's open another tab. Wonder how I can zoom in into this one. Preferences, maybe? Picture, tab vid. Ooh. 4 spaces. I need to modify this so it behaves the way I like it. It's better. Ooh. Nice and big fonts here. Maybe the 14 is a little bit of an overkill. Just lower this to 13. Yeah. Right, so the command is a quick analysis, and it prints out the usage. So we're going to have one memory image for the Citadel memory dump. We don't know the profile yet. And another one for the desktop. And while these ruminate on what should be the profile, I suggest that we also take a look at volatility free, because I want to use that one later. So I'm going to do a git clone of this repo and then enter into this repository, and let's see what we have to do. So okay, well, this is just for a minimum requirement. This will be installed automatically once using setup. Okay, so I can skip this one probably and just do these steps. Enable full range. I think we need to do both. We'll see. I'm skipping the minimal one as they stated. So I'm just running the what's permission denied. Okay. And sudo. For the second one, it actually requires sudo. All right, and see the requirements. Bullet service. Well, I don't have a PGP, so let's do the classic blowfish encrypted then. Just gonna give it a password. Not sure what this is, but hey, I'm installing stuff. Oh, this is probably for Yara or So yeah, there are plugins for volatility to do Yara scans. Oops. Script, JSON schema, and path, considering that's dependency. Python EVTX requires what you have, which is incompatible. Yeah, well, I guess we're not gonna have the full functionality there, but while I'm at it, might as well install update pip. This is not necessary for the volatility part, it just bothers me. Okay, quick start. Okay, so we should be able to do this, and then the structure of volatility free looks a little bit different. I just need to make sure that we're, is it called vol.py still? Yeah, it's still called vol.py. Okay, volatility framework 2.0. That's for volatility free version 2.0. Very confusing. That's that was something really confusing there. You know what? So okay, we're still running here. The desktop already had this one finished, and suggested profile is only one, so I guess this is going to be the version that we're going to use. I'm going to rename, I think I'm going to, or maybe I create another directory within memory, and I'm going to have like Citadel PC volatility free. Just this part maybe. Create. I'm going to do something weird here. I'm gonna rename the memory file. I just want this for the directory name. And yeah, for volatility 2, I'm going to just drop the image info here. Let's create a file for this nano. So we have this information and also maybe the command stored in a text file, because we will need it later in case I forget it or something like that. Then I'm still going to have the profile. Now this does really a scan of the memory structure and try to identify based on that the OS version. So it's not 100% reliable in this case because it gave a very specific profile for a Windows 10 version. I think it should be fine. There's also some metadata here, like the image time, and I do vaguely remember, we can actually check this one, these dates in memory network forensics rather, for the NetFlow. Yeah, so September 18th and 19th was the time that we had the PCAP from. So yeah, that kind of checks out. Okay, so we can already start my script and against the desktop. So let's do that one. And I think volatility free, we'll check it afterwards. So I just need to say that it's in the memory folder. And oh yeah, well in this case it's I'm just going to drop the script actually to the memory folder, I think, because then it creates a directory in that folder. It's a pretty dumb script, so I have to do it like this. Sorry. Memory, and then it really just gonna be this command here, and you will see on the output what volatility commands the script actually executes. And it's always fun to look at htop while it's doing it. wow, this takes forever. So that's the reason why you want to direct everything into a text file, because it takes ages for some of the commands to run. And so this is what the script is running, and it's just starting a new process for each of these commands. I have here 8 cores altogether. It should be sufficient. And I'm running things like pslist, ps3, pscan, crossview, netscan. We're going to look at some of these. Some of the instructions might not have any meaningful output. So what I'm doing here is to just get the data out, and then the analysis part is the really interesting one, which is going to be manual. In the meantime, we can check what files are created. Oh, okay. Now the VM resources are really cranking up, and I can feel the VM slowing down a little bit. If you look at htop, all the CPU cores are peaking now, and we see all these volatility commands. On a DFIR system, this shouldn't be an issue. On my laptop, for example, I have altogether, I think, 16 threads. So I could even run more tasks in parallel. And yeah, the script could be a bit smarter. That's probably a point that I could improve. I also see here Suricata running for some reason. I think the installation that I did was very, very basic. I really hope that my VM does not die under this load. We'll see. I'll let it run a little bit, then hope for the best. I might have killed it. I think streaming and running all these threads. Let me just try to... it's gonna be kind of tricky to get the task manager on my laptop. Task manager. See the performance. Yeah, it's kind of maxing out all the cores here. We'll see. Now even htop has a hard time responding. So I might have to go a bit easier and not run multiple volatility commands, because we also had the image info running on the Citadel one. In the meantime, because I forgot to do this, but it's not super interesting because all you need is really an Excel sheet to do analysis on a comma separated vector. But if you want to bring in the big gun or do something more advanced, then you can also use Eric Zimmerman's Timeline Explorer, which have a hard time now even starting up, as the VM is crunching through the files. So Timeline Explorer and all the Zimmerman tools were recently updated, and what you can do is just, I don't know, let's pick one and just drag and drop a file in there. It's going to load the CSV and display you the columns, and you can perform the same kind of search. You can do a text-based search, like, what was it, core update or something like that. Can't remember. Yeah. So you can see that it nicely filters down the results. You can also tag these and later do filtering on the values or the entries rather that you tagged. It's pretty much a smarter way of handling CSV data compared to just loading it into an Excel sheet. So I forgot to show this to you, but I promise that I will fire up the Timeline Explorer. It's, I think the biggest value with Timeline Explorer is really that you can drop in multiple type of data. entries, and it will can display everything in one view, but the number of columns will increase, obviously. So that's Timeline Explorer. So we could have done the Autoruns analysis using this tool. It's just for a teeny tiny CSV. You probably don't even need this. You want to exit? Yes, I do. All right, let's see how my VM is doing. I think the last bits of volatility is running. And normally I wouldn't do this on a VM. Probably natively makes more sense. So I normally have a laptop running Ubuntu that having Sift installed, that can crunch through the memory dump faster, and it will produce really just text file outputs. Memory, oh, come on, and it's this one here. So we're going to browse through some of the output later. Once it's finishing, the timeliner takes quite some time. I think I also have in the script a note that they usually take quite some time. So for the browser history and for timeliner, that will take significant resources and time. Let's see if volatility managed to. Oh no, it was killed. Okay, I'll try to run this again and see if we can determine it. The amount of resources consumed by my script resulted in this one dying. Probably that's the reason why I didn't finish. So we're going to go easy on the resources afterwards, but we can do the analysis on the desktop system then first. And most of these should be already done. So let's take a look at it. And in the meantime, Expert Chi, thank you for the follow. It's a really cool nickname as well. So for those of you who are joining, because I see quite a few new names in the chat, we're doing the DFIR Madness Stolen Szechuan Case. I can try to find it again. And we're working on the... Come on. The browser is not willing to open up the page. Ah, there it is. We're working on this, and last week we did the analysis on the PCAP files, and today we went through already the Autoruns for the domain controller and the desktop, and we're doing the memory analysis now, which takes quite some time. I think for the disk-based analysis, we might have to break it into two streams. We'll be able to probably analyze the two images that we have for the two systems. Okay, so let's start with the usual suspects. We have a few things here that I like to go through, and I like to start with network connections and also process lists. And for process list, we have various outputs here from different plugins and volatility commands. PSList and PSScan, they both going to give you, and PS3 for that matter, they're all going to give you an output of the process list. However, they do this differently. So PSList, and I always mix it up which one is which, but I think PSList actually walks through the linked list that you have for the memory pages, and can just walk through the pages for the processes. PSScan, however, will scan the memory as the name suggests. So I think I'm not mistaken here entirely, but let me try to get to the volatility integrity hashes. Is there a GitHub page here? Maybe it's just volatility. Let's give it a try like this. I think they have a pretty good wiki page where you can find the various commands. So how are we doing time-wise? You know, we're doing pretty well. So I think we will have time to browse through some of them. Command reference, Windows core. Let me just look at this. Yeah, this is the one that I was looking for. So process list first. Let me see if I was mistaken. List the process system, use the plist command. This walks the, yeah, it's a double linked list printed by PS active process head. So this is, I'm not going to go into too much details on how the memory is structured on a Windows system. I think it's the same kind of memory handling in other systems as well. But there's a pointer that points to all the current active running processes, and it's a double linked list that you have to walk in order to find a process. So PS list basically does the same thing as your OS does, and then PS tree is just going to give you this tree-like structure. It's like what you have with Task Scheduler. So you can see the number of dots will tell you the relationship between a process and its parent. So you will see here the parent process ID for a given process. You can correlate this, of course, with the parent PID and the PID values, but this is a nice graphical view. So sometimes it helps to identify a process that has an unusual parent process or does not have a parent process, but normally it should. So if someone tries to hide a malicious process under a legitimate one as a child process, we can spot that one. Actually, I think on SIFT-VM there should be a poster that kind of explains these. Yeah, the Hunt Evil poster from Sense is really, really cool for this exact reason. And this first page highlights some of the normal way how a system process runs. What is the parent process, for example, LSAS. So if you see another process under the name LSAS, but it has a different parent process, that might be malware. Still running the output. Or is it already done? No, it's still working on it. Okay, so we'll let this one run. I think it's finishing up, so because I don't see that many cores being used. PSCan, on the other hand, so PSList and PS3, they do the same thing. It's just different kind of output. And here instead, it's going to try to scan the memory, and this one also often finds terminated processes. So because they do the process listing from the memory done differently, you might see artifacts in one but not in the other, and that's the reason why. Oh, it's not here. I really like running the wonder if the PSX view, is it PSX view, is a really cool command. It's a plugin though. Anyway, we'll see the output. So PS cross view is displaying all the processes, and it has a nice table format that will display you which method you see a given process or don't see a given process. This sounded very confusing. Let's look at the files while this is running. And hopefully this will finish, because I really need the memory image version. Otherwise it's gonna be tricky to run this. Oops, sorry, where was I? So let's look at the process list for the desktop. Start with plist. And this is, like I said, it's a very, very standard view. If you prefer to see the tree view, then same thing, just with PS tree. And we see, again, usual things like we have SVC host running here. And the parent process is services, and for services it should be winInit. So if you correlate this with the Hunt Evil process, these are the normal ones. Now SVC host usually has more than one instance running, because it's a system process that handles system functionality. Then we see VM tools as I think this is VMware tools, the service running here, and this kind of correlates with what we saw earlier in the Autoruns. Smart screen, LSAS is here. Again, LSAS should have WinINet as the parent. That's okay. There's PowerShell here. 2 PowerShell processes. Actually, one in the and another one as a child process. This could be that persistence running there. Unfortunately, we don't have the actual command detail here. Then this one is, for example, the desktop window manager, so totally normal. OneDrive running, again, VMware. Kind of just looking at what was the. Wait, sorry, that's the that's a parent PID. Where's the parent PID? This one. Maybe it terminated already. And at the very bottom, I think you can see it, yeah, is our core updater with no parent PID. And that's kind of weird because it was a child, but we don't have the parent process running anymore. And again, PowerShell. So this is just a different view. I try to find here core updater as well. Oh, there it is. This actually terminated a few minutes after execution, which makes sense because I think this is just a persistence mechanism based on the Autoruns findings that we have. So this picks up that PowerShell command that we saw, which is the persistence mechanism, and has that random registry, anti-random named registry key, which is some sort of base64 based on the PowerShell command, but we don't know that because we haven't looked at the registry yet. So I think we already identified here interesting processes. Let's see if there's something else. Yeah, I don't see anything else. And you can set the column width so the name actually fits there. So this is exe, it's just, yeah, column width limitation there. Let's look at PS scan now. And now we can do manual correlation here. I'm not sure if we see the core updater in this one. Interesting. Oops. This search function is horrible in this. We do see PowerShell, but not the core updater. And like I said, this can be the case because the 2 commands will enumerate processes from the memory dump in a different method, in a different way. But we should see our core updater here in PS cross view. And this is what I mentioned earlier, so hopefully this will make sense now that we have here PS list, PS scan columns, and there are also a few other plugins that we haven't looked at. Sessions also make sense to look at. That will display you which command output does see a given process. And this can be sometimes a good indicator that the process is trying to hiding itself. Here, we probably don't see this in PS scan because even in PS list we saw that we don't have the parent process for this one, which is kind of unusual. Right. So I don't think we have anything else interesting. We also have sessions here. This is the memory portion of the system that is, so it's already one of the plugins in the command list that is from the GUI memory portion for Windows, and I think they have a separate set of commands. Yeah, there's also specific commands for finding malware, and yeah, the session is a command that will analyze the processes for a given logon session on the graphical desktop. So going back here, let's see if we can find this process here. Yeah, it's over here, and we have the process ID here. Oh, I just managed to click on PS scan. Yeah, so we do see this one on the desktop session. We do see it with PS list. Obviously it shows up in PS3 because it's really just a fancy PS list here. That's already pretty good. Now, what I'm interested in is what we can see on the network communications side. So usually the next thing I check is the netscan one. Let me just check on the commands in the meantime. So, okay, this one was killed for the, I don't know, maybe for the CSV part. We have in timeliner, but this is fine. So probably what is the thing that we do not have here? Switch view here. I think the browser plugins kind of died on us, and I'm not going to rerun this whole thing just for that. How can I switch this to list view instead? Oh, probably with this button here. Ah, much better. So I don't think we have anything in, oh, there's some Chrome history one, Firefox history. Not sure which one failed, but at this point, it's not even very important because we already have some pretty good findings. This one though, I wonder when it finishes. If not, then I think we have some information and we can just, in the case description, and we can just rely on that maybe for the domain controller. File server on the domain controller. Yeah, okay. Well, we can also dive into the PCAP file to determine it, but I'm hoping that this will eventually get us the information. For the profile would be nice. All right, so went through session, cancel. What's this? So let's open up now the netscan file and see what connections were open at the time when the memory dump was taken. So netscan will give us, whoops, that's bad. Nothing. So this is probably one of the things that failed. That is not ideal because then we will not see it. I don't know if it's, no, sockets is also, no, but wait, this is, it only has the header. So yeah, this is one of the things that got terminated. I might have to rerun this eventually again. Because without this, we won't be able to tell much. Okay, I'll tell you what. We're going to see what else we have as an output here, and then probably have to rerun this script again. I'm just going to drop there some dumb sleeps so we can wait until one batch finishes or something like that, and kind of limit the intensity that this puts on the system. We're going to sleep for like a minute here between these. And okay, at least this one finished, so I'm going to rerun this probably one more time. We're going to rename this so we have at least something to work with. Failed. And then let's run this again while we pick the proper image info for the DC in the meantime. So I'm going to save this again into a file. What was the desktop name? Desktop image info? Yeah, I think it was like this. Just the name of the memory image. And then save all this. And yeah, so suggested profiles Windows 8, highly unlikely. So this is probably a server OS. This looks pretty promising, but because we have so many different gases, I'm not 100% sure if I want to use this profile. I'm probably just going to go with this generic one here. It should give us the desired result anyways. And my VM is again slowing down. I think the streaming and running the commands in the same time is probably not something that my system tolerates that well. At least I have one less process running, which I'm not sure if it's much, but okay. In the meantime, super slow. Okay, we're almost there. So in the meantime, I just want to prepare the command for the DC. Using that profile that we found. Yeah, I probably should have run this before streaming and then we could just analyze the output. I wasn't expecting that it slows my system down this much. Oops, that's a little bit too much here. So I said that let's pick the generic profile. It might not find everything that it could find with the proper profile, but this should be close enough, I think. At least this is a server OS that seems more believable. The fact that it also picked Windows 8, it tells me that it's probably R2. So we should go with this profile, I think. Well, once the desktop one finishes. And in the meantime, we can go back while this is still crunching. I'm just curious if it has the NetScan output here. Yeah, no, so this is still working on it. Okay, we'll let it run. And oh, I need to save this one in the meantime. And what we can do, we can while it's running, we can take a look at volatility free as well. So we installed everything for volatility free, and I think the approach is pretty much the same as volatility 2. So quick start, yeah, we got that one, we got that one. And then Windows info. Actually, let's look at the help first. It should be mostly harmless anyway on our system. Or not. Okay, so volatility free and version 2.0 is what we have here. And now the plugins have a different naming convention, which is, I think it makes more sense how they do it now in the more recent version of the tool. So we have Linux, there are Mac plugins. There are some generic ones, like if you do, I think, timeline or something like that, then it's a generic one, and we'll just run the appropriate plugins for the timeline. Yeah, there's Timeliner. We're not going to run Timeliner while we're running the other script. And and then everything is under Windows, and not every plugin is readily available, unfortunately, in the version 3 of the framework that we have under version 2. So that's why using both might make sense. And this one is recommending to run the Windows info. So I'm going to just pick, for example, let's pick the Citadel image, the DC, that is, memory, and then well, what is the, I'm just going to open up another terminal. What is the file name for this one? For some reason the completion as just .mem. Okay, it doesn't pick up the file name here. Okay, it has a nice progress indicator, and it's similar to the image info command, I think, if I remember correctly. And the idea would be the same as in Volatility 2. So there are a few typical commands that you would run against a memory image, like we have here as the script output. So I'm really just going to repeat a few of these, maybe for NetScan, because I really would like to see the list of running processes and what connections they made. It might make sense to run the version 3 as a standalone single command, so at least we'll have some visibility on the desktop one. Apparently even image info takes significant resources. Maybe I should beef up even more in my system, but the thing is, with streaming, combined with streaming, it is all the resources that I have right now. They're almost there. Still processing. Maybe have better luck this time and have already the NetScan output. Look like it. Yeah. One thing that we can also do, even though this execution of the script kind of failed, well, I can run it one by one. So if it fails again, then we'll just see the most common commands with volatility free. They should have the plugins for that. And the other thing that we can do is grep for that known binary called update. Oops. Yeah, like this, and see, yeah, well, this is probably a little bit messy to see where it occurs. So it occurs in the CMD line, but it's one single line here. The CMD line might contain actual command execution, command line execution, and the details of the command. It's also in DLLs. SIDS is just the and privs. These are the privileges and permissions set on the given file. In this case, this binary, which is like kind of the default system ones. You can also silence the output a bit and just look at the ones that are not the typical settings. Yes, cross view for permissions, that is. It also occurs in the timeline. If you just want to review, by the way, which files a given expression occurs, which might be a good idea, then with the -L option in grep, you can just quickly review the list and then open up the files one by one. That's probably a better approach. Okay, so this gives us a very similar output to what we had. And actually, I probably should have created here. Probably should have directed this into a file so that we can have this one later. So I'm just going to drop the output here, and I'm going to do the output redirection for the next commands. So we should have something like netscan for Windows. Netstat is also a pretty good one. Actually, I think I want to have the netstat one first. So let's do that, and volatility free will determine the so we don't need to define the profile. It will determine properly what system we're dealing with automatically. And I can just, oh, now I just placed it into the volatility free directory instead of putting it here, right? Let me fix that one real quick. No, not the desktop. Volatility free. Yeah, this doesn't belong here. I want to place it over here. So, which means that I want to place the files into this folder. Sorry, it's just some housekeeping that I want to have. Oops. For the output, this is going to be Citadel _ and then the text file. For netstat, I'm also going to do the netscan thing. I'm not sure this is going to be more successful, but if it fails, then we don't need to run the whole thing over again. I think I would just pick the ones that fail, and I'm just basically going to rerun this command here. How's that? Probably should have done that initially. Page fault. That's weird. So maybe netstat fails. Let's do netscan then instead. Netscan. Just going to modify, and this is the reason why I have a script, because basically the structure of the commands is all the same. I just didn't have time to redo the whole script for volatility 7. See if it's better like this. Yeah, it's killed again. I think it's just I'm trying to force on the little VM too much. Let's see if we still have anything running on volatility. Okay, this is the net scan for the Citadel one. Let's see if I can rerun this command here. And overwrite existing file. Okay, there's really not much in here, so I'm going to delete this. Let's try to run it again. Let me see what is eating CPU, so let's try to free up some of the resources, but it's really just volatility. Let's scan. This is the one that I started. Okay, this one finished. I wonder if the next one is really just So this is Citadel, and I'm trying to rerun the. Look at that! It reported the net scan failed, but in reality, it's here. The output is here. Okay. And this is the reason why I wanted to look into the results of the NetScan plugin, because we do see a connection made, and I do remember this one. I think we had this one. Let's correlate this with some of the findings that we had with the network forensics part. We have plenty of outputs here, so I'm just going to open a new terminal here. Doesn't open. Switch, so it's easier for me to open a new terminal here. I just want to grab for this IP address real quick. Yeah, we saw this one. I think this was the C2. Yeah, I think this was the C2 communication channel. Actually, we can also do this in the... Let's go to my favorite logs, the Zeek logs. And do a correlation real quick. Yeah, this shows up here as well. So this was the C2, I think. I do remember some of these 200s were the C2 communication channel, and it comes from so the connection is established by this core updater service that we saw earlier. Now let's see. So this one now for the desktop. I think what we're going to do is I'm going to do the desktop analysis with the script, and then we do the at least some of the analysis for the Citadel with volatility 3 instead of volatility 2. So I need to get out from network forensics and go back to memory. And if I go here now, under NetScan, let's see if we have now a more meaningful output. Where's NetScan? Oh, did I place it in an incorrect directory? Oh, it's under memory. No, it's image info. Where did I Where do I place this now? Scan, volatility. It should be here. I think I'm just looking at too close, so. Yes. And Malfine, net scan, there it is. And yeah, now we have way more. Yeah. So let me just do something because the script does produce an output. Where is the log? And I think that can, there it is, that can tell us which one failed miserably. So yeah, the timeliner definitely failed. To some extent, because I think it did return something. But now we have the NetScan output at least. Let's try to find the core. Nothing for the core. Nothing for core update here. That's interesting. I'm not sure if it's the entire output. I don't trust this one anymore. Let's do the same netstat output. I'm going to create another directory here. Yeah, oh, actually I already have it here. So for volatility free, I'm going to run the volatility free netscan output now, just on the desktop. Desktop systems memory dump. This should be good. And I'm also going to do netscan afterwards. Because it still doesn't feel like that this is the entirety of the file. Wait, we do have the, isn't that the same IP address here? So we do see the IP address here. It's just, yeah, for some reason the owner is missing and the creation date is missing. But I think it's just a plugin failing me. Oops. All right. Just looking at the first execution. What we have here, PSV sessions, that's it, okay. And then volatility. Let's check the same thing for the second execution. Yeah, this is pretty much the same thing. I think because the script failed again. It failed me again. Yeah, like I said, normally I don't run the script while streaming. I like to keep the resources or mostly just running the different volatility commands. Right. In the meantime, I wonder if we have something in Malfind. So Malfind is another plugin that is pretty useful, and I wonder if we have Malfind for volatility free. We'll check it afterwards. At this point, I don't really trust the output created by the script. Now Malfind is trying to be smart. PowerShell doesn't do much. And display you some of the assembly for a given process that based on the internal rules of the Malfind plugin it finds interesting. Like it will look for like executables and display you some of the initial instructions for the process. I'm no Malware, not really good at Malware reversing. And yeah, this is a fairly short list in this case, so I'm not sure if this is the full output, but I'm usually just look for something like XOR, which we don't have here, but this is pretty short. I think this one might have failed as well. So I'm going to see if we have Malfind in volatility free, because this one seems to work better. Maybe just because I'm not running multiple volatility commands at the same time. So that could be the case. But first I want to do a net scan as well for the desktop. And then let me in another terminal see if Python free vol py has malfind / malfind. There's malfind for Mac and Linux, so yeah, it should be for Windows. So that's gonna be the next plugin that I want to run against, probably both. So not just the desktop, but also the Citadel one. And yeah, I think for the script, we can consider it too much for this stream, but I still might pick some of the commands that we had. I wonder what could be still interesting. We looked at I think the process list was pretty much okay. Could be a good idea to run it again. We're going to do the process list for the DC as well. And then I think I'm going to switch to another tool just to show you what you can do with something called bulk extractor, and how you can get those PKFIs that I mentioned at the beginning. Plus, bulk extractor should work also on the Pagefile. I'm just afraid that we will have the same resource problems as with the script, because bulk extractor really just goes there and eats all the resources that it can find. I think the net scan is, yeah, this is Python 2. There's something still running here. The IE history one's still running here. I'll just kill this one. Oof. Okay. I think it's stuck from the previous script execution. Oops. No, I don't wanna close that one. And the other thing that you can do basically when you run this on a beefy system is just run a script like mine, or have a series of commands and you just replace the name of the memory image. It's kind of the same thing. And I get a coffee. Or work with another artifact. Now at this point I'm just very afraid to launch anything else than a single command, because I do want to have the results, and I'm pretty sure there is. It's just we saw it in the output that this one is incomplete, or the NetScan plugin. Maybe I should restart the VM or something like that, because it takes ages. Nothing really justifies the slowness of of volatility spending so much time on a single thing here. In the meantime, we can take a look at this one already. We had the netstat results. Let's see if this is better now than what we had in the... Actually, it's not the same. So we don't see the... We don't see the PID, but we do have the C2 IP address showing up here. So that's good. Yeah, I think I'm just going to kill this one, sorry. It's unreasonably slow, so. The other thing we can do, I'm going to reboot the VM. And while this is rebooting, because I think at this point the resources and some of the remnants there might prevent volatility to finish up. But while this is ongoing and rebooting, I kind of wanted to underline one thing that I see from people recommending for memory analysis, and this is Redline. Now, Redline had a new version released, I think, 2 or 3 years ago, and I still have it here because when you create your collector and do the analysis, it can give you a quick overview. So this is good for triaging, but I had pretty bad experience when it comes to memory analysis. So let me just get here and try to pick any of the memory files. So you can do memory analysis with Redline. I'm not gonna load in any indicators, but usually I don't have much aside from just the process listing. Let's put this one, DFIR Madness, and what was the file that I picked here? Was it the Citadel one? I think it was the Citadel one. Citadel BC or something like that. Right, it was this one. So let's drop it here and call it, I don't know. This is just for the tool output Redline. And this is just more to demonstrate what not to do. Okay. Right, at the shared folders here. Redline. Select folder, analysis session, memory or something like that, doesn't matter. And so this will crunch through the, oops, UAC. This will crunch through the memory dump, but I don't think we will see much. Sometimes I don't even see the process listing when parsing a memory dump with Redline. So I don't think it's a tool that is very much maintained. And I'm also confused on who it belongs to at this point, because Mandiant is now not part of FireEye, but if you want to download Redline, you still go to the FireEye download site, and I'm not sure who's maintaining it. Is it something that belongs to Mandiant or not? So not sure what's going to be the status of this, and it's not really frequently maintained. Usually it takes years to even catch up with the most recent OS. I do remember when there was a transition from Windows 7 to Windows 10 for about a year. Redline was not supporting Windows 10. I'm pretty sure it's not supporting Windows 11 at this point, so I don't really recommend this tool. So I'm going to attempt now to run again the, this is not the right folder. I'm going to attempt to run again the volatility free plugin for NetScan. I think I just need to remove the previous file here, because NetScan did not do much for us and it took forever. So while this is running in the background, we can browse through what Redline does, which doesn't look like much. We have driver modules listed out here, but this is just listing out basically standard system drivers. I mean, it's not bad. So these were the drivers loaded. Device tree. Yeah, these are also just the driver information. So I think it was able to parse out something, but I don't see processes, for example. Timeline is empty. So yeah, this is pretty much what I expected. Like the output is not much. I don't think Redline was updated to do the memory parsing for quite some time. And they probably worked a bit on the collection part. So with Redline, you need a collection script, and I think it does collect the memory dump. Maybe they create a memory dump that more suits the tool format. And I don't know actually how the memory dump was taken for this exercise. But yeah, I don't think Redline is really a go-to tool anymore. A couple of years ago, it was pretty good and reliable, but yeah, those days are pretty much gone. And wow, it seems like that volatility does not really want to give us a win. I'm going to attempt one more time to run the version 2 for NetScan, and then I am really going to move on, or maybe while it's running we can move on and check out another tool. Oops. I'm going to attempt to do this one last time. And the other tool that we can check out is bulk extractor. Now, bulk extractor is normally, bulk extractor. It's normally installed on the Sift VM. And it's version. Okay, then let's do a -H. So bulk extractor is not just for memory images, but it works really well on memory images, and has various modules or plugins. The scanners enabled by default are these ones, and they will, I think the net one is the one that will also carve out PCAP files if it finds them. The memory image does contain the network buffer if it's not overwritten with something that you might perform, like a memory dump over the network, and in that case you might override this buffer. So you have to be careful how you take a memory dump, which I haven't talked about, so it's probably a good idea to talk about it here a little bit. So options on taking a memory dump is either you plug in a USB drive and then you can create the memory dump on the drive. This is probably the ideal case because you're not overriding anything on the system itself. However, you need to physically go there and run it. There are some neat solutions I heard about, like the IR team prepared, in one case that I heard, USB sticks for the service desk. And I actually tried to do this in one company where I worked to be part of the culture. And on that USB drive, there was a batch file that would run the collection script. For example, with Redline, you can do this quite easily. You can configure it to even take the memory dump, and then you can run the dump against something like volatility when it's willing to work properly, which it doesn't today. But we'll see how it behaves. And you still need to go there and plug in the drive. You have to take note of the drive, because obviously when you do the like disk-based forensics or endpoint forensics, you will see a drive plugged in, so you'll be able to tell, okay, yeah, this was us performing the triage, for example. Another option to dump the memory on the disk, for example, you remotely log in and you run any of the solutions that you can find out there to dump the memory. If you dump it on a disk, though, you're overriding the unallocated space to make space for the file. So if you later want to do carving, which today is not very common, so you're probably not losing much in the era of SSDs. File carving is not really something that works really well because of things like bare leveling, the constant defragmentation that Windows 10 does. I'm pretty sure Windows 11 does the same thing. So for those reasons, file carving might not be something that you're very concerned, but just keep in mind that you're overriding the slack space, because, well, you're going to have to place the dump on the disk. The other problem might be that it's a fairly large file, and if you have an active attacker on that endpoint and you're dumping like 8 gigs of a memory dump, well, they might be able to access it. That's bad because there are some juicy information there. I think there's a couple plugins that can dump like hashes from volatility. We can check those out later if we have time. Well, you're going to notice that there's a huge memory dump on the disk. So you kind of also do an action that might tip off the attackers. So operationally, this might not be something that you want to do. And you can also dump it to a remote location like a network share. But if you do the network share part, then in the memory buffer, where you might have interesting PCAP files, you will flush it out because you have to transfer that large file. So that's the problem that you might experience. And just to probably save resources, what I'm going to do with bulk extractor is I'm going to disable all and just enable the net option here. So you can do something like bulk extractor X all. So this disables all the scanners, and I'm going to enable the net one. And then I think I need to give it the desktop memory dump. And I forgot to create a directory, but I'll create one real quick. So okay, there, desktop script, or not script, but it kind of looks like script, SDN1 and so on. So this will be the name for bulk. I cannot write bulk today. Bulk extractor underscore, let's do net or something like that. And I wish I remembered the syntax. Yeah, oh, out there. It's gonna be the one that we need. I think it's like this. We'll see. If not, then we're gonna get an error message. And yeah, bulk extractor really checks how many cores you have, and it will launch with that many threads. Crunch is true on whatever file you fed in. It can be a memory dump, but it can also handle page files. And I wonder if we have the page files copied over already in my home directory. If not, then and get a new folder and see page files. and copy over the files from the shared folder. So DFIR Madness, right? Oh, I need to do the disable enable thing again for shared folders to be enabled again. Probably SCP in-game would be a faster option at this point. All right, this should work. There it is. We already have the page files extracted, right? Yeah. This Citadel and then this one. So everything with the name page file sys should get in here. This is finishing up. So while we're copying over the page files, let's check what we have in the bulk extractor. And this is the absolute mind-blowing stuff here, at least for me. I don't know about you, but if you don't find this one cool, I don't know what you think is cool. Because bulk extractor was able to grab all these packets. Now the time value is not gonna be, wow, this looks really weird. Why is it so weird? Let me just reorder them. But still, there's valuable data in here. So as you can see, timing for some reason is off. Maybe Bioshock is not able to handle the format there. So wonder what kind of MDNS that is in the packet, but Bioshock should be able to pick that one up. But we do see, see if we can find that. Ah, there it is. We do see the IP address of that C2 server that we saw. And it also produces some additional output like IP histogram, so we can more easily browse through this and see what IP addresses are included. And you can do more. I'm just afraid to run it at its full potential, but we'll see. Ether histogram. So it can produce a ton of information and extract. It can even extract files. I'm gonna give it a try. Let's see how the volatility process does. Yeah, this probably will never finish. So, we only live once, right? So I'm gonna launch now bulk extractor with all the, probably not with all the possible options. Let me just do like a simple, just call it bulk extractor or something like that, but I'm going to have the defaults. I think like this. It should run the default scanners and then output the results, and we'll see what we can find. And this one finished. I'm not sure if there's anything interesting in here. Yeah, it could, yeah. I'm not sure why is it not able to display the process owner here, but we saw in the past that this IP address was something that was requested by the by the core updater exe file. Wondering if we can maybe try to run the script against the domain controller, or maybe just do the netscan part. Although I think we saw, yeah, we do have the netscan output here. So DNS-exe, and this one does not have the... Oh no, there is core update. Look. But did we already see this one? So it's here twice actually. Okay, so the netscan for Citadel does have, with version 3, show up with the IP address that we know is the C2 IP address, plus we also have that core update exe. I wanted to run molfind against, I don't know. Let's do molfind against the maybe the domain controller. So I think it was, I have to look it up. What was it? Python 3 all.py. This. So even though I'm not fully satisfied with the results, and I might try to later run the script again when I'm not streaming, and then next stream we can see the output, because it just seems like it's just too much for my laptop. Molfind. But we do have already the process list, and at least for the DAISY in the netscan and netstat output, the same results showing up as we had with Autoruns. Well, partially we saw the core update and core updater executables, as well as with the network data. So I'm not necessarily unhappy with the findings, and I think we have good things. It just would have been better to show you the entirety of the script output. The molfind could be an interesting one, and if we have something interesting, we could also try to dump out the malicious file. I'll just try to find the proper command here that I can just modify. I had this one here. In the meantime, bulk extractor finished, so let's check the results. And like I said, it can do more than just getting the PCAP files out of the memory dump. It will also try to carve out, we have a few SQLite files here, for example. That's pretty interesting. Oops. It also has email histogram for the various email addresses that we can find. Sector 9, Blackwater. So this is all carved out from the memory dump. And it can show up in any place, so it doesn't necessarily mean that this was an email address that someone sent an email to. It can be just occurring there because there was, for example, a website containing this email address. In email txt, we might actually find emails being sent, but yeah, because of some aging that might occur in memory, we might not be able to reconstruct the whole thing. And then we have domains. visited. Again, this can be just maybe the system going out to these, like again, we see the revocation service, and if I remember correctly, we saw a lot of traffic just belonging to the certificate revocation service. Not familiar with this IP address though. And I would have to look and check back the IP address that we saw where the malware was taken from. I think that was the C2, or this one was the C2, I can't remember. It's no, it's 203, so this was the C2 address, I think. I think it was like 194 or something. We can check that one actually. In the network forensics logs, let's see, T-Shark hosts or something like that. I think it was this one where we had the actual malware delivered. So the executable delivered. There's block extractor. Oops. This. So let's do a grep. If we found this one anywhere, anything interesting showing up. So in the URL histogram, we do have this one showing up. And if you remember back, or if you haven't been in the previous stream, the download occurred by directly going to an IP address in this case. So this again correlates with our findings that we had for the PCAP files. And in the meantime, this is done. So let's see what we have here. Okay, so Malfind have a couple of samples here for us. I'm probably going to open this one up in a proper text editor. And so what I'm browsing through here is really just a high-level thing. Usually I look for something like XOR to see obfuscation maybe occurring, or instructions like this in a bunch. What is the process here? Spool SVEXE. Well, that's a system process, but it definitely doesn't do things like this. So this is an instruction that does nothing. Actually, it's a way to zero out the register. If you XOR something with itself, you're gonna get zeros. And this looks like this looks something that happens totally random. So this is sometimes a way for malware trying to avoid detection by inserting instructions that will essentially do nothing. But it might throw off antivirus, and in case of malware, this is sort of an equivalent of a no-op. It's just a fancy way of not doing anything. So I would say I'm not necessarily happy seeing that one. For me, it's pretty suspicious. Okay, and then there's an executable. Again, we have the magic bytes here for a P executable. So what I suspect is that probably, we already know that this is Metasploit, so probably the attacker migrated into this process, and that's why we see these no-ops here, or well, the equivalent of basically a no-op. So with volatility 2, you can definitely dump out files. I wonder if we can do the same thing with Malfind like this. Find I just need to create a malfind directory here. No. Okay. Or we can try to do it with volatility too. I'm just going to look this one up and see if there's a way to. I know that you can dump out all the executables that Mal finds interesting with volatility 2. I'm just not sure if you can do it with volatility 3, but you can try to do it manually if that fails. That was not useful. Let's see what we have here in this cheat sheet. -- dump. Okay. Let's try that one. I think they kind of changed it, like also process IDs like -- pin. Or just dumps it in the current directory, maybe. It's not ideal. Yeah, I think it just dumps it into the current directory. See if you can reconstruct something. Ah, this looks good. This looks pretty good. Still dumping it. So you can reconstruct process memory from the dump, and later then you can perform analysis on it. I think we have everything. Okay. Do we have something like clam scan? This is pretty basic, so we should probably generate like we should probably generate the hashes. I'm not even sure if ClamAV can do it like this, but you can also in the meantime just calculate the hashes for these. Oops. I try to remember. This hash looks familiar. I do remember we had. Probably should get back to like Zeek and try to look at. Yeah, extracted files. No. We do have the extracted files actually. File wrap EE. I do remember we had 2 portable executables. Wait, maybe not like this. Yep, these are the ones, and I can look up the hash value like this to do some correlation, and then we'll see if we manage to reconstruct any of those files. keep doing this. So it's EED. Probably not the same. Scan summary, scan files, infected files 4. So there is some more, but oh, okay, sorry. It actually, oh, this is perfect. It even tells us that this is Meterpreter. So yeah, oops, the reconstruction might not be perfect. But we do have these 4 extracted ones, and the process ID for these should show up actually in the process list, and it should probably give us that executable. But now we can take this one and do further analysis if we want to. We probably won't, because the whole point here is to do the memory analysis. I don't have the process list for. I don't have the process list for the domain controller, so let's do that one real quick. Try to do the process list for the domain controller, and then we're probably going to wrap up this stream. Yeah, not modified. Let's move backwards. I'm kind of surprised that I didn't do the process list thing. Okay. Python vol, oops, vol I, then grep. No, just less. What? I forgot to do this h. PS list, PS3. I think I will just do a PS list and a PS scan real quick. Let's start with PS list. I want to see what the PS list does for that file. Okay. And we also had PS scan, right? Yes, scan. Yep. So I'm just doing that one as well. So we have the output. And I think for the next stream, I'm going to properly run the script, and we'll review the output again, so that we don't have this kind of hectic analysis, but a more repeatable process. But we already should have the PS list here. And what was the process ID for this one? And it's all the same PID, so it's just the same process reconstructed. Oops. Okay, so this is the spool SVEXE, and this kind of underlines or confirms my suspicion that they probably migrated into this process. That's why we saw those strange XOR instructions, and Malfind already identified that one as suspicious, so we dumped it, and then with ClamAV this been identified as Meterpreter. So I think it's a pretty good hypothesis that they migrated into this, which is desirable if they want to persist or have access to certain parts of the memory that they need. Like often you will see attackers maybe migrate to processes that run with higher privileges, so they can, for example, dump the hashes. Which reminds me, I did promise you to see how we can dump the hashes, so we can also do that one. Let me just rename this directory real quick for later use. So this was offline dump but it was for the domain controller. Let's grab the system name. Okay. And last thing is to check out if you can dump some hashes from the memory. This is more for, you probably wouldn't do this on the defender side, but maybe as more for a red teamer, or if you want to verify if the attacker could potentially have access to hashes. I see here cache dump. But I think there's also like a standard hash dump or something like that. So just put these ones aside. CMD line could be also interesting. So I don't know if we want to run that one later. Hash dump is another. So cache dump is actually, yeah, that's not even for password hashes. What am I doing here? LSS dump, though, could be interesting for, LSA dump for LSA secrets. So let's try to run these just to see what else we can find out. And then we're going to wrap it up. There will be a couple other things that I skeleton key check. That's pretty cool. So we might revisit this for the next session, because yeah, I didn't manage to run the script to its full potential. Plus, some of the plugins are simply not available yet for volatility free. So we're going to review it, but I think we had like the most interesting things probably already identified and managed to eventually get the volatility output for processes and networks. And the goal here is really just to do a quick triage. All right, so let me prep these commands real quick. This is for the hash dump, LSA dump, CMD line. I'm just interested in this skeleton key check one. I don't think we will get anything out of it, because it's not that kind of scenario, but it's pretty neat that they have a plugin for this. And the CMD line is just one thing that I always like to run. Okay, let's take these. What? Say dump. And I'm running it one by one nicely. They're actually able to finish up in a reasonable amount of time. I was too greedy with the script that I'm usually running. Why is it not putting it in my clipboard? There we go. Okay, let's see what we have for hash dump. Yeah, not much. I mean, we have the hashes, but those are not actually useful hashes. We only have guest and administrator. I'm not sure if this is no, this is the empty one. So this is probably not disabled and could be something. I do recognize this one. So this is the empty MTLM hash, and this is the MTLM hash. Well, I mean, for modern systems, you would expect to see this because it's not set. The guest is disabled, so I'm also not surprised with this one, but I'm not sure about this hash. I don't know if anyone recognizes, but I don't think this is empty. Trojan. Probably should do like rec station. See if we have that hash, but I think. Okay, so this is the hash for password lead speak A and then $signs, and then instead of O there's a 0. But just verifying it. It should be available in, yeah. Okay, so we actually do have the meaningful administrator password hash. Even if it was set, the administrator was probably even enabled. That's funny. So cool. Let's see LSA dump. So we might see here LSA secrets, like a default password set by the administrators. I don't see anything interesting in this one. What was the other thing that we were running? Yeah, skeleton key. Yeah. Okay, so this one just verifies that, yeah, it doesn't see any sign of skeleton key attack. And what was the other thing? Yeah, CMD line. So this one, like I said, is interesting for me because sometimes you might see the actual command that was executed. Here we just see, oh, that's weird. This is exited. But we do see the core updater file here showing up as well. And if we look at PSCAM, so in PSCAM we shouldn't have that one. No, it is. It is showing up here. Interesting. File output disabled. So again, I think the desktop system might have been with the script that I was running against the desktop's memory dump might have been failing, and oops, this one has a wrong name even for the desktop. But instead of curiosity, if we run pscan against the desktop memory dump, and the name is all wrong, but scan. Equals.mem. I promise this is the last two commands that I'm running. Oops, what did I do here? It's pscan txt. Oh, there's no text at the end. Oh, it should be just missing a. I was missing an underscore there. It's incorrect. But I think I will rerun these commands for the next section, and then we can review it at the beginning of the stream, because I'm not satisfied with the desktop output and there might be something interesting there still. But we managed to identify the process migration / injection into spool SV using molfind, and then dumping it out and then checking it with clamav. Probably we could also just check the hash against something like this output is actually pretty interesting, so to save this one aside here. Scan. So we could probably check I'm not sure if the yeah, no, the hash wouldn't make too much sense because this was injected in here. But anyways, scanning it does provide, or maybe someone submitted the hash already, I'm not sure. Try to find like this one here. I wonder if we can find anything on this. Nope. Would be pretty unlikely, given how the whole carving and process dumping and the fact that it was a process that was injected in here. It's probably not going to show up in any databases. Yeah. I wonder even if I probably should also check if the memory image was copied correctly for the desktop. So we're going to verify that one afterwards, because yeah, this is again just only being stuck on the PS scan. Free yes list. I think this is the name of the module. Like this. Yeah, looks good. So we're going to do that one last attempt. And yeah, this seems to work a bit better. We do see the process here. So this is the desktop. Obviously, it has different process ID and parent ID. And volatility 2's PS scan and the PS cross view didn't find it, so I don't expect it to show up there. One last thing that we can do before we finish it up, we have the page file as well. And for the page file, let's just do one. For example, let's do the Citadel one. So you can also, or did I do it with a bulk extractor? Really? It's weird. Is there anything here? Oh, okay, I think I was just thinking about doing it. Okay, so we can do it with bulk extractor. Bulk extractor can also handle the page file. Yeah, probably I wouldn't do it with the... I want to do it with the Citadel one, the domain controller instead, because we already have the bulk extractor output for the desktop. So maybe I will run that one again later. So bulk extractor, just with the default, and then I think it was Dasho for the output, right? Reverse search, what? That's weird. Let me close up here a couple of things. Oops. Strange, I don't think I'm mistyping anything here. I'm pretty sure I can do this with the page file as well. Citadel sys. Oh wait, did I forgot to create the... Eventually I forgot to create the directory. Either... bulk extractor, that was the problem. Okay, let's try it again. Directory created, bulk extractor, go against the page file, and then this is where we're going to output. There we go. Yeah, this was better. So the page file is what we is basically for the virtual memory, and we write out the memory pages to the disk. So virtually, it seems like that we have more memory, but in reality, we use the disk. And the strategy for an OS for the page file is to write out the pages that are less often accessed by the system, so that it's not a problem that it takes more time to access these pages, and the system has to take the pages and bring it back to the memory if we have to access any of those pages. But we gain the benefit that with the virtual memory, it seems like that the system has more space, more memory available. Let's see, page files. We already should have plenty of things extracted here. We potentially can also find PCAP files. Doesn't seem to be the case for this one. I think this is pretty quick, so you can also run this probably for the desktop as well. What's the name of the directory? And this will give us the same output as what we had. Well, same kind of output that we had with the memory dump. But as you can see, some of the files are empty, and the page file will obviously contain different different output. The output of the page file will be obviously different than the memory output because the content is different. There could be some overlap. Yeah. And yeah, in certain cases, we might not get much meaningful out of it. Plus now with compression, it can be also problematic. I'm not sure if that's the problem here. It's just, yeah, it doesn't have much in the page file. Nothing interesting, really. We can also configure bulk extractor to try to run all the scanners. So I think I will do that one for next time, and I will figure out why PSScan is unable to finish. So probably the memory dump here has some issues. I'm going to close this one, but we still have pretty good findings using the bulk extractor on the page file. It's still running, but we did a pretty good job with the malware dump. And I would also say that where is it? We have some good findings. This is probably pretty much the same here. Using volatility free, and well, some output of volatility 2 was also pretty useful to identify again that executable that we saw earlier. Let me just switch here. So we were able to see the executable that we saw last week with the pickup analysis. We saw the C2 address. Now we have some extra information. So we saw with Autoruns signs of persistence, and we have a registry key that we want to hunt down. So next week, when we continue with the EL1 file, probably we're going to take I don't know, either the domain controller or the desktop and do the disk-based analysis, then that's one pivot point that we need to trace down. And we can always look for the core updater, exe or core update was, I think, the name of the service. And any network activity that we might be able to identify from this base forensics, because we have a C2 IP address and an IP address that did the malware delivery, plus I think we also have, I'm not sure if it's, I think it was the same address that did the delivery, that did the RDP brute forcing. So we have a pretty good picture so far. Again, I'm just doing more higher level analysis here. I don't want to spend time on assembling a full timeline. Maybe we'll do that later. But we have all these findings and leads for the next session. And I promise I will go back and do a neat and tidy execution of volatility with the script, so that we have the output that we can review. But I will preserve the results that we have. I think the malware dump went really well, and the malfind part went really well, because now we know that they migrated potentially in that system process. And it's an additional finding that we have. So that's all for today. Thank you very much for staying and sitting through this session, even though it wasn't exactly how I planned, but eventually we got, I think, pretty good findings out of it. If you're interested, the Stolen Szechuan case does have a solution guide. I haven't checked what they're doing there. And I'm hoping that I might check afterwards, see if we missed something, but I hope that we had most of it. Just as a reminder, tomorrow, if you are in the Hungarian-speaking region and you do understand Hungarian, then Hackasuli Meetup is going to have a stream tomorrow at 6 in the evening, Central European Time. Wednesday, we're going to continue the Try Hack Me Throwback Lab. We managed to, I think, clear off all the flags and tasks until task 15, which is pretty much halfway through the lab, probably a bit less than halfway. So we're going to continue from there, and I think the next step is to infect a system with Empire using Starkiller as the interface for that. Thursday, I'm going to do a stream with Sans and Phil Hagen about network forensics. And afterwards, a couple hours later, I think that stream is probably an hour long, and at 8 in the evening. So that starts at 5 Central European Time. And the YouTube link is in the, I think it's in the chat. If not, then I can still drop it there, but you should be able to find it. Yeah, it's in the chat. So if you're interested, you can check that one out, and make sure that I think you don't have to subscribe, maybe just get the notification. I'm not sure. It's YouTube Live and I haven't done that yet. So I also have to figure out how that goes. And then 8, we would like to sit down together with Ava. She's working during the week, but she might be able to join to some of the streams. But that stream, I definitely want to do it together, because we spend hours and hours and hours assembling the 3D printer, which is finally done, but we still need to configure it, do the calibration, and then try to print something with it. So that's going to be Thursday evening. Friday, we're going to play around with Wi-Fi pineapples and perform some attacks, see if we can detect them, and maybe fine-tune the attacks with it. So basically preparing it for the assessment that we have upcoming. And Sunday again, junior penetration tester path in Hungarian, beginner friendly, nice and slow. Sometimes we do struggle with some of the challenges there because, well, we're not reading properly the instructions, or some interesting kind of approach for teaching certain concepts. But we do it together with Ava and having quite some fun there. So we did that just yesterday, and this week we're going to continue that path, and next couple of rooms or module is about burp suit. So if you don't know that tool, then we're going to discover it, give you some pro tips. I'm pretty sure Ava has some awesome tips for you. And let me check if we can raid someone. I will try to use that site that we had. Security Weekly seems to be up, so why don't we try to... Yeah, why don't we try to raid them? Let's try to raid them. So I think this is the actual Pole Security Weekly, but I'm not sure. It's on the list, so we're going to go there and raid them once we are done with the stream. Hope to see most of you throughout the week in other streams. Maybe see you tomorrow in the Hack Actually Meetup stream. And stay safe and see you next time. Bye.